Today's our topic that name is the gravity, right? So what is the basic things we have to study into this gravitical things? Gravity means ki earth, a natural attracted factor that is called as the gravity. What are the content we have to study into the gravity? Let us talk about in our subject. What is the understanding purpose to correlated with the nursing used of the gravity in this manner. First one, specific gravity, center of the gravity, principle of the gravity, effect of gravitational force on the human body, and applications of the principle of the gravity in a nursing. Why we should be studied about the gravitational force into the nursing purpose. So that are the various things and the contents we have to study into the gravitational factor. First one, let us talk about the definition. The gravity definition, the force that attract a body towards the center of the earth, means whatever type of the force which is generated by to the earth and which is produced from to the earth center point. This is called as the gravity. Now the gravitational is the force with the which all the bodies in the universe attract one another. Means the bodies things, means ki our bodies things, everything which is going to be attract to the another things, this is called as the bodies universe another things, right? This is the fundamental factor. This is m1, this is m2, this is the F is equal to G m1 m2 upon d square. This considerations we will be studied by the next to the slide. This is the formulated factor, one molecule and another molecules which is attract towards the things. This is the distance, that is the force, that is the gravitational factor. This is two molecular things upon the distance. This is the gravitational factors we are observing, where the F is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between of them. Means the F which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between of them. Let us talk about them. This is the F is equal to gravitational force, m is equal to masses, d is equal to distance, and g is equal to gravitational constant, and this is the formulated factor 6.7 into 10 raised to minus 11. This is the constant of the gravitational factor, nm square upon kg square. Specific gravity. What is called as the specific gravity? The density of a substance is the relationship between the masses of the substance and how much space it take up the volume. Means what is the density called as? The density of a substance which is the relationship between the masses of the substance and how much space will it take up by the volume. Density which is expressed in a gram per centimeter square, means ki gram per cubic centimeter square. Cubic means ki square feet factor. This is the unit name, gram per cubic centimeter. Water density which is 1 gram or cubic centimeter cube. This is the density of the water into the gravitational force. Specific gravity of a substance which is expressed by numerically by the values of its density in grams per cubic centimeter, which is gram per centimeter cube. This is the specific gravity and the force where the atmosphere and where it applied and how much amount of the gravitational force which is going to be applied on it specifically, right? This is called as the specific water specificity of the gravity which is different, or the gravitational factor which is different. Molecules, one molecule to another molecules attracted which is different. Next one, let us talk about the example. You can understand by very easily in manner. This is the completely physics, students. This is very basic physics. So you can understand about if the density of a substance which is 5 gram upon centimeter and cubic cubic centimeter cube upon, then its density will be 5, right? That is the gram per factor, and this is the density factor, which is specific dense factor. It means substance is 5 times heavier than the water. Minsky, it means that the whatever substance is more than 5 times more than heavier than to the water. Specific gravity, the ratio of the density of any substance to that of the water. Means what are the ratio of the density of any substance to that of the water? It is also known as the relative density, which is also known by the relative density. Clinically, it is expressed as specific gravity. Minsky, clinically, which is expressed as the specific gravity, which is significance that how many times lighter or heavier a substance than an equal volume of the water. Means a specific gravity is which signifies that how many times lighter or heavier a substance than a equal volume of the water, which is a specific comparison between a specific volume of the water. Next one, a specific gravity depends on the density of a substance. Minsky, the specific gravity which are dependent on the substance. Whatever substance which are taken onto the it depends by the specific gravity. Example, urine normal specific gravity is 1.0110 to 1.030. This is the urine specific gravity. This is the specific urine gravitational factor. So this is the normal. What is that? What is it called? Urine specific gravity. In our bodies, if minerals or any other things which are in a higher content to observe into the urine, which is measured by a urinometer. So the urinometer looks like, see, this is the urinometer and this is the observed by the specific gravity, which is put it down into the urine container, and whatever substance which are observed in a higher manner into the urine, which is attracted by the earth gravitational force, which is indicated that if this is specific making down of the urine gravitational factor, but if it is higher, it means that the minerals and the calculized factors which are observed in a higher manner into the urine, this is called as the specific gravitational factor. Blood specific gravity, which is 1.055 to 1.066. This is the blood specific gravity, which are the higher content which are observed into the blood. And the urine specific gravity, this is observed by these conditions, Minsky, earth gravitational force which are attracted by the gravitational factor of the earth. Next one, how to determine the specific gravity of a substance. Minsky, how we can determine to identify the specific gravity of the substance, to determine the specific gravity of a solid substance and the weight the substance in air and then into the water. Means to determine the specific whatever things, how can we measure a specific gravity into the conditions. So like into the air, which is different into the water, means any substance which are any atmospheric hurdles which are different by this different conditions, like in air and in the water. The difference in two weights gives the apparent loss of weight in the water. Means into the conditions water, the gravitational force which are going to be less as compared into the normal gravitational force which is observed onto the earth. Okay, the appearance of loss of weight, it is equal to weight of the water which is displaced. Means the apparent loss of the weight which are equal to the weight of the water which is displaced. Next one, a specific gravity. The ratio of a weight of substance to a weight of equal volume of the standard, like usually water, expressed without the unit, like specific gravity is equal to weight of substances upon weight of equal volume of the water. What is the specific gravitational factor? And there are conditions. So like weight of the substance, this is the weight of the whatever substance, and which is a weight of equal volume of the standard, means ki whatever standard which are making down, which is usually water, which is expressed without the unit, like specific gravity is equal to weight of substance upon weight of equal volume of the water. See, this is the substance and this is the specific gravity. Observe here, the blood, water, seawater, gasoline, ethylene alcohol, mercury, balsa wood, dense oak wood, gold, bones, ice and air. These all are the specific gravity which are observed differently by the substance. Second one, this is the center of the gravity. The center of the gravity of an object is the point at which weight is evenly dispersed and all the sides are in a balance. This is the substance who are taken down by the person. This is called as the center of the gravity. This is the center, this is the line of the gravity, and this is the base of the support. This is base of the support, this is the carry things. Means the gravitational force, whatever your substance lift up by the man, which is a center point is here. This is the base to support and this is the line. See here, this making this design, observe here, and evenly dispersed and all the slides are in a balance. See, this is the CG factor. Everyone have the center of the gravitational force which are different. In nursing practice, it is often necessary for a nurse to carry heavy objects close to the body so that center of gravity is not deviated and does not put extra strain on the body. Means in the nursing practice is often necessary for nurse who are carrying heavy object which is close to the body so that center of the gravity which is deviated and which does not put extra strength onto the body. Principle of the gravity, Minsky, Archimedes principles. This is Archimedes. Principle is the most important principle of the gravity. Minsky, who is the proposed by the gravitational related of the principles, who are the scientist name and related of their experiments. Archimedes is a Greek mathematician. Archimedes' principles may be stated as when a body is fully or partially immersed in a fluid, it experiences an upward force which is equal to the weight of the fluid which is displaced. Means Archimedes' principles were proposed by the principal body which is fully or partially immersed. Immersed means ki combined in a experience an upward force which is equal to the weight of the fluid which is the displaced. The tendency of a fluid to excrete an upwards force an object who is immersed in it is called as the buoyancy. Means objects which are going to be in a backward factor. This is called as the buoyancy. The fluid to extract by the upward factor force objects which are immersed means ki mixed. It is called as the buoyancy. The upward force acting on the object is known as the buoyancy force. The upward force who are acting on the object which are known by as the buoyancy force. Example, drawing water from the well. Here these are the drawing of the water well. Example, whatever things we are taking down, put it down and get back of the water. This is called as the buoyancy. The principle is also known as the principle of the buoyancy. This principle is also known by the buoyancy principle. These principles can be used to determine the specific gravity of solid substance, which be determined by the specific gravity of the solid substance. Here, this is the weight we are taking down. This is the weight balance, which is the specific gravity which are different into the water and into the air. Here, just understand about the example. In the water, the gravitational force which is different, and into the air, the gravitational force is the different. Okay. Whenever it is put it down into the water buoyancy and graded down into this condition is according to this gravitational force. Whatever here, this is 500 gram, this is 200 gram. The 200 gram water which is appear by the upward factor means called as the buoyancy factor. Applications of Archimedes principle. The hydrometer, this is the hydrometer used for measuring the specific gravity of the liquid, operates on this principle. Hydrometer which are using for the measurement, means measuring the specific gravity of the liquids who are operates on this principles. This is specific gravity command, float-ended, cylindrical. This is the wax which is the lead shot. This is the base of the liquid. These all are the applications of the Archimedes principle, right? This is the some hydrometer which is appear by into the water and the things. Okay. Urinometer also works on the same principle as above. We are already discussed about that. The gravitational force which are attracted as according to the constituent which is available into the urine contents. Okay. The urinometer also works on the same principle. And underwater exercise, see here taking some underwater exercise where the patients with joint or muscular problem can be facilitated for exercise when they feel easy to perform exercise in water due to the buoyancy force. Buoyancy force of the reason behind, you are now understand about the buoyancy force. The back positions is according to the forces factor, whatever we are applying by the air to the water, and the buoyancy factor which is depends on to these conditions, right? So, the buoyancy factors which is very comfortable to taking down this principle into the exercise purpose into patient. In the physiotherapy exercise, the taking down of some critical type of the therapy we can appear by this wateretic method. Okay. Next one, effect of the gravitational force on human body and applications of gravity in the nursing. What are the applications are observed into the nursing factor? Let's talk about them. Okay, why we should be studied about the force, gravitational force, right? So, how will be used into the nursing purpose? Why should we learn about the force factor, gravitational force into the nursing applications? Let us talk about them. The principle of gravity important in healthcare practices, which are important into the healthcare practices, like infusions of the IV, obviously infusions of the IV fluids, nasogastric feeding, urinary drainage, and irrigations of the body cavity. These all things will appear by the factor. These are infusions of the IV fluids, nasogastric feeding, urinary drainage, and irrigations of the body cavity. Right? In these conditions, we can't you are understand about all the things which is very basic. So I hope you are understand well your post basic factor. So you are basically knowledge about what is IV fluids, what is the nasogastric fluids appears, urinary drainage, and irrigation of the body cavities. You all aware about this board. In these conditions, the gravitational force is applied onto the system. Next one, standing with balance, walking, throwing, and other activity which is depends on the gravitational force. Means ki the standing with the balance, whatever balance you are made, and like walking, throwing, and other body cavity activity, which are depends on by the gravitational, whatever you are done, the gravitational force which is applied by in a manner. Intravenous infusions of the blood transfusions cannot be possible in the absence of the gravity. Means कि intravenous infusions or and the blood transfusions cannot be possible in the absence of the gravity. Blood circulations in the body mainly depends on the gravity, means which are mainly depends on the gravity. Circulations factor onto the mainly depends onto the gravitational factor. Which changes in the body's positions alter the pressure of the blood in different part of the body. Means ki which are changes in the body's positions and alter the pressure of the blood in the different part of the body. If a person faint means very faint, means very painfully factor, faint should be lowered. This helps the blood to return to the head by the gravity, means ki which is a return to the head by the gravitational factor. A person who is standing for long may have edema of the leg, means ki who are the persons who are standing very in a long time of period. This is edema, swelling, means ki which is observed by the gravitational force, means ki blood transfusions factors which are appear regularly in our body but which is absorbed by the gravitational force, which is by the standing for the long time for the edema. Gravity exercise which is prescribed for the patients with circulatory disorder of lower extremities, means ki the gravitational related of the exercise which are prescribed for whose patients with circulatory disorder of lower extremities. Brain surgery which is done with the patients in a sitting or semi-sitting positions to lessen the drainage of the hemorrhage. In this condition, this is the drainage of the hemorrhage, means in hemorrhagic factor, the brain surgery which is done to the patients by the sitting or the semi-sitting positions by lesions and who are drainage of the hemorrhagic fluid by this sitting factor. After a resection, the patient is kept placed in a semi-sitting positions to increase the drainage from the thorax through the drainage tube by the gravity. After the resection, patients which is kept placed in a semi-sitting positions which are increased drainage from the thorax through the drainage tube by the gravity. Next one. In anesthetic patient, when in anesthetic patients who are unconscious when during of any surgery or any positions which are done onto the patient head is placed on one side and the tongue and the oral sections, means ki secretions of the drop down due to the gravity that makes a larger passageway for air to enter and respirator which are improved. Means ki anesthetic patients, the patient's heads is placed on one side, tongue and the oral secretions of the drops down due to the gravity and that makes a larger passageway to air. This is all the mechanism. This is the simple mechanism which in behind of the any gravitational factor force which is applied over there, which is passageway air to enter and respirators improve, means ki by the air which is going to be applied and the gravitational force which is applied over there and the respirators or the respirators factors which are going to be improved. Now erythrocyte sedimentation rate, this is one of laboratory tests who are done for the values to identified of normal RBCs. Okay, so ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, is also based on the gravitational factor. This test which is done by a simple air gravitational factor, means ki into the cuvette we are put it down some into the measurement of the blood, we are taking the measurement of the blood and rest for take it down for the 1 hour, and if The RBCs values which are wrong, means ki if the RBCs which are not in a normal factor, which are going to be separated, and the fluid serum which are going to be separated there. Postural drainage after the chest, means ki physiotherapy. Physiotherapy is also based on the gravity only. Means ki postural drainage, this is the postural drainage by the lungs coughing materials, which is also based on the gravity only. Next one, a dependent positions with legs dragged in one side of the beds for the patient with congestive cardiac failure to accumulate excess fluid in leg to facilitate breathing, also achieved with the gravity. Means ki which is dependent positions with the leg dragged in one side bed to the another patients with the congestive cardiac failure to accumulate excess fluid, means ki which is the one type of the therapy for the positions which are positional therapy, means ki excess fluid which is leg facet breathing also achieved by the gravity. Now oscillating beds used to change positions to facilitate the circulations of blood and lymph, which is achieved with the gravity. Means ki oscillations, means ki the beats factor based on the positions, whatever type of the positions we are facilitate, and circulations of the blood and the lymph which is achieved by the gravity. During of the thoracocentesis, paracentesis, peritoneal dialysis and fluid which is drained with the principle of the gravity. These all examples are drained out by the conditions of the principle of the gravity. Post-radical mastectomy, this is the one of the surgery name, affected side arm which is kept on high position so that with gravity lymph can be drained effectively and swelling on the arms can be prevented. Means keep the swelling, this is one another therapy name, the swelling portions which is going to be lessed by the therapy. Okay.